Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to use a pivot table in Google Sheets. A pivot table is a great way to quickly summarize data on your sheet to help you see comparisons, patterns, and trends in your data. For example, if you'd like to see how many sales representatives you have, or what different items you have on your sheet, or you'd like to see the total number of sales, who sells the most and who sells the least, things like that, a pivot table can help you with that. Right now, data on the sheets can seem a bit confusing or even overwhelming, but once we're done with it, it will be much easier to analyze. The first thing you want to do is make sure your internet connection is turned on. Then simply click on any of the spaces with data in them on your sheet and select Insert. Then select Pivot Table. And here you can choose to place the whole data, your pivot table, on a new sheet or an existing sheet. If you choose an existing sheet, you have to put in the name, but I'm going to go with a new sheet and click Create. Once you create the pivot table, you see the editor on the right. If the editor doesn't show up, this could be because you didn't properly format your original sheet. Make sure that each column here has a title, a header, because this is how it will be identified in the pivot table. And these headers are basically the things like my dates, items, region, sales rep, just the things right here. So now I'm just going to head back to my pivot table. And in the pivot table editor, you're going to see some suggested ways to just summarize your data here. But we're not going to use this. We're actually going to go through each of these categories, the rows, columns, values, and filters, just to help you better understand the pivot table editor and customize it to fit your preferences. So the first thing we're going to add here is data in the rows column. So under rows here, just click add and you can choose any of these dates items, but I'm going to choose my sales rep and they will appear here in alphabetical order. You can change the order from ascending to descending, but I'm going to leave it as is. And now you can see it's much easier to know who all our sales reps are compared to this original sheet, which looked quite disorganized and confusing. And if you'd like, you could also add another row for another category besides the sales rep category by selecting add. And here you can go with anything here, but I'm going to go with dates. And then you see what days they were active, our sales reps. You can see that this person was active all the days of the month, or pretty much all the days of the month, just except the fourth day. And this can just help you get an idea of who is the most active among the sales reps. Now I'm just going to remove that. I just added the dates because I want to keep my pivot table as small as possible, but you could leave it if you wish. Next, we're going to go under the column section and click add. And here I would like to put my items. So whatever items they are selling, and you see that they appear right here in the columns at the top. And in the rows and columns section, you'll see this show totals. You can unselect them, but I'm going to leave them selected so I can see the totals once I'm done. Now the next thing we're going to add is the values. This is simply what's going to fill this whole empty space here. So click on add, and what I want is the total items sold. So I want it to display what items each person sold and how much they sold. So I'm just going to select total items sold. And here you can see the items that were not sold by Cindy and Dan and Eva. I can also see who sells the most of which particular items. And since I left show totals ticked here, I can see the grand total, like how much each person has sold and how much of each has been sold. So here you can see that this person has sold the most, Alice, and the item that sells the most here is the popcorn. So this just makes it easier to just better analyze all the data you have on your original sheet. You could also select how you want the numbers here to view. It doesn't have to be numbers. You could change it to percentages. So if I select that, It shows the percentages of each item sold and what is sold the least. So I'm just going to change this back to the default because I don't want it showing as percentages. And instead of the total items sold, you could also choose to see how much the price is for each item sold. So if I select item cost, it will show how much each of the items they sold was and the grand total, of course, since I left the total ticked here. Or if I want to see the total costs of the items they sold, I can also cancel this and select total sales. And here I'll just see the total prices of each item they sold. And here I can see that the person who sells the most, who made the most money, was Alice, and the person who made the least was Eva. And finally, the last thing we're going to look at is the filters. This is just a great way to filter out the data you want to see. For instance, if you'd like to see the sales made on a particular day or days, so just click on add and I'm going to select date. And you won't see any change immediately because it's showing all the items still. So select that and select clear. So for instance, if I want to see all the sales made on this particular day, I'll just select that and click OK. And I can see who sold those on the days. I can see here it's only Alice. Or if I want to select more, I could do that. And the values here expand. I can see that Bob is also here, Cindy and Dan. And that's it really, nothing complicated. That is how you use a pivot table to analyze data in your sheets. So that's all for today's video. I hope it helped you out. If it did, make sure to leave a like, share, and leave a comment below if you have any questions. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.